Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I am so glad that you're here today. So, today we're diving into a topic that so many people struggle with. And honestly, this is something I see every single week inside my practice. We're talking about why SIBO protocols fail, why symptoms keep coming back, and what you actually need to look at if you want real lasting healing. Now, if you've dealt with SIBO, which for those of y'all watching who may not know what that means, SIBO means small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. So if you've dealt with SIBO, whether it's bloating, pain, discomfort after eating, constipation, diarrhea, or that awful food baby belly or constant relapse, then you already know how frustrating it is. You finish a protocol, you feel a little bit better, and then it's back. Same symptoms, same misery, same rabbit hole of trying more diets, more supplements, and more antibiotics. So, first, let's break down the truth. SIBO is rarely ever the root cause. It's a result of something upstream going wrong. And until you find that why, the overgrowth is going to keep coming back. This is the part that most people never get taught. So, before we dive into the root causes, let's quickly talk about the different types of SIBO because they don't all behave the same way and they definitely don't all respond to the exact same treatment. First, let's talk about hydrogen SIBO. This is usually tied to diarrhea, quick motility, and feeling like everything just kind of moves a little too fast within the digestive tract. Hydrogen overgrowth thrives on carbs and fibers, which is why some people may feel terrible when they eat healthy foods like, for example, apples or sweet potatoes. Then you have methane overgrowth, which is technically called IMO, intestinal methane overgrowth. With this one, methane slows everything down. These are the people who struggle with constipation, slow digestion, gas that smells different, and that heavy bloated feeling that just never ever goes away. Methane organisms don't even respond to some of the classic antibiotics used for SIBO, which is why so many methane cases fail standard protocols. Now, and then lastly, we have hydrogen sulfide SIBO. That's the one where people get rotten egg smelling gas, brain fog, dizziness, inflammation, body aches, anxiety after meals, reactions to sulfur foods, garlic, onion, eggs. Now, this type often gets worse with typical SIBO treatment because it's on an entirely different metabolic pathway. So, already you can see the issue. Three different types, three different patterns, three different needs. So when someone's handed the same protocol as everyone else, boom, failure is going to be baked right in. Now, let's get to the important part. Why do these treatments fail? So SIBO is like smoke, not the fire. And the fire is actually the root cause here. Something allowed bacteria to move into the small intestine and allow them to get stuck there and populate and in turn overgrow. I want you to imagine the digestive system like a highway. In a healthy system, food moves through smoothly, enzymes break it down, stomach acid kills the invaders, the gut keeps everything in check, and the cleanup crew, called the migrating motor complex, pushes bacteria down and out so that they don't settle into the small intestine. Now, when SIBO happens, something has slowed that highway down, closed off a lane, or created a traffic jam where bacteria can actually start to accumulate. So even if you wipe out those bacteria, the traffic jam is still going to be there, meaning the buildup happens all over again. And some examples of those traffic jams are this is a very common one that I see fairly regularly: low stomach acid, which happens in stress, perimenopause, thyroid issues, nutrient deficiencies, protein pump inhibitor use. And when stomach acid is low, bacteria survive the stomach and move into the small intestine. That is probably one of the biggest root causes that I see. And another one is sluggish motility. This one is actually huge. So if that migrating motor complex isn't firing, bacteria literally sit in the small bowel. Motility gets affected by stress, vagus nerve dysfunction, poor sleep, undereating, low thyroid, perimenopause shifts, and even previous food poisoning that damage nerve cells. Then we have the structural issues. Someone may have adhesions from C-sections. Someone may have had a hysterectomy. Someone may have endometriosis, appendectomy. Even undiagnosed scar tissue can physically trap bacteria. So you can kill bacteria all day long, but if something is physically pinching or slowing the gut, it's going to come back. Now, another one is gut immune dysfunction and low secretory IgA. So if the immune system lining in the gut is suppressed, usually from chronic stress, trauma, infections, mold exposure, or long-term inflammation, you lose the natural defense that keeps bacteria where they belong. And we also have poor bile flow or pancreatic enzyme output. If your bile is thick, sluggish, or low, then in turn, food doesn't break down well and bacteria end up taking advantage of that stagnation. Same with low digestive enzymes. They leave leftovers in the small intestine, and bacteria love leftovers, y'all. And then there's a microbial imbalance from a damaged colon microbiome. You can't fix the small intestine if the large intestine, which is the source of the bacterial migration, is completely imbalanced. So this is why so many people do rounds and rounds of antibiotics or herbal antimicrobials and don't feel better. They're killing bacteria, but the why is untouched. So it's like wiping up water on the floor, but ignoring the broken pipe that is continuing to shoot more water out. So how do we get rid of the SIBO relapse loop? You address the root cause in the right order. You test instead of guessing. You support the terrain. You support motility, stomach acid, bile flow, inflammation, vagus nerve function before you kill anything. You treat the specific type of SIBO, not just SIBO, as a general category. You restore what's been missing, you seal and rebuild the gut, and you make sure that the downstream colon ecology is balanced so that it doesn't feed right back into the small intestine. Now, when you actually do this, people don't just manage symptoms, they actually start to heal. They stop being afraid of eating, the bloating goes away, their brain fog clears, their energy improves, their hormones rebalance, and they feel like themselves again instead of living in survival mode. My clients tell me all the time, I didn't even realize how bad I felt until I finally felt normal. And that's exactly what happens when you stop treating symptoms and start treating the root cause. So if you've been stuck in the SIBO cycle, if everything you've tried has only led to short-term relief, or if you feel lost, overwhelmed, or confused, just know it's not you. It's the approach. Once you get the right roadmap, healing is very, very possible. And if you want help identifying your specific root cause and finally getting a plan that makes sense for your type of SIBO and your body, then reach out. This is what I do every day with women who have been dismissed, overlooked, or told to just take another round of antibiotics. You don't have to stay stuck. You just need to know what's really causing the problem, and that's how you can finally heal.